Megan.
I'm Christy.
And we are
Homebrew
Murder
Crew. MICROBREW, obviously.
Yeah, it's a microbrew.
If you're here, you know that. These lashes are coming off, and I look like a hot mess. It has been a day.
You look good.
But you know what? We're going to just jump right into it because I'm fucking tired.
Me too. And I still got to drive back to Calgary.
Yes. So Megan just brought us episode 64, which obviously is available to you guys. If you're listening to this one, you can go listen to that one before it releases to the wild. So all good in the hood. But today I'm going to bring you a microbrew. Let's get into it.
I love microbrews.
So the Canadian prairies, including the province of Alberta, are recognized as regions susceptible to the formation of what? Tornadoes.
Oh, what?
Particularly during the spring and summer months. In fact, I think the first tornado that we got this year was in either the end of March or like early April-ish.
Oh, really?
Maybe mid-April. But yeah, it was just a little guy. Just a little gaffer. But Canada ranks second globally in annual tornado occurrences, trailing only the United States.
Of course.
Within Canada, Alberta and Saskatchewan typically report the highest number of tornadoes per season, averaging between 14 and 18 events each, although many of these are relatively weak.
Yeah.
Dr. Keith Hages, Dr. Keith Hodges. I don't know. Dr. Keith, Dr. Keith's extensive climatology dating back to 1879. So way back, found an average of about 10 reported tornadoes annually in Alberta. Most Canadian tornadoes are rated between an EF0 and an EF2 on the enhanced Fujita, the EF scale, or F0 or F2 on the older Fujita scale used in Canada prior to April 1st, 2013, typically causing minor to moderate damage such as uprooted trees, damaged shingles, or overturned mobile homes. However, the potential for much stronger and more destructive tornadoes rated EF3 or higher exists and has been realized on several occasions throughout just Alberta's history.
Wow.
And while weak tornadoes like an F0 often receive little publicity due to their short duration and limited impact, the province has tragically experienced the devastating power of violent tornadoes, underscoring the significant threat severe convective weather poses to its communities.
Interesting.
Also, one of the first movies I seen in theaters when I was young, I think the first one ever was Aladdin, and then the next one that I remember vividly was Twister.
I was gonna say Twister.
Yeah, ever since I've seen that movie, which I fucking love that movie. I haven't seen that second one yet, but ever since I've seen that movie, every summer I have nightmares about tornadoes.
Oh wow.
But I actually they don't scare me, and I wake up like, wow, that was really cool.
Yeah, tornadoes don't scare me either.
Tornadoes are they're frightening, but they're fascinating. And I would love nothing more than to go on with storm chasers and chase a tornado. I think that'd be so cool. It's on my bucket list.
Just sidebar here real quick, because now it's on my mind. The first movie I remember seeing in theaters was Lion King. And the second one was Mew versus Mewtwo, the first Pokemon movie. Yeah. And I have vivid memories of seeing that in theaters. Not Twister, but
I remember the first movie I saw in theaters that I didn't have to get up and go to the bathroom in and miss part of it.
Yeah.
Multiple times was Santa Claus.
Oh, nice.
With Tim Allen.
Nice. God, that's crazy. And
thank you, Blotter.
Memories.
So, pardon me. On the afternoon of Friday, July 31st, 1987, Central Alberta experienced a severe weather outbreak, culminating in an exceptionally powerful and devastating tornado that struck the eastern parts of the city of Edmonton and surrounding Strathcona County. This event, etched into the collective memory of the region as Black Friday, stands as a pivotal moment in Canadian meteorological history.
Glad it's not just me.
We're having problems.
We are
tonight.
having speech problems tonight, guys.
And disaster management. Rated F4 on the Fujita scale. F5 is the next one, like the last, right? On the fajita scale. Yeah. The tornado is a spicy one. Spicy. The tornado carved a long path of destruction, claiming 27 lives.
Holy shit.
And injuring hundreds more.
I never heard of this.
No.
No.
Its immense impact made it the worst natural disaster in Alberta's recent history and remains the second deadliest tornado in Canadian history, surpassed only by the 1912 Regina cyclone. And
wow.
Fun fact, sorry, my nose is so itchy. Fun fact, there is a band called the Rural Alberta Advantage, and they wrote a song about this tornado, and it's called Tornado 87.
Wow.
I just said it, and the song gives me goosebumps.
Really?
I'll play it for you after.
Okay.
Obviously, for copyright purposes, I cannot play it for the podcast, but go check it out. It's so good.
Ooh.
They're like a little indie band.
Love it.
It's really
Never
good.
Heard of it.
They do. I think the majority of their songs are based on like events that have taken place in Alberta.
Did they write a song about the flood, the Great Flood of 2013?
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've followed up on that gang, you know? So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to analyze the 1987 Edmonton Black Friday tornado.
Okay.
We're going to examine the meteorological conditions that fostered its development, details its formation, track, and destructive characteristics, and we're going to assess its profound impacts on human life, property, and the regional economy.
Interesting.
And furthermore, we're going to review other significant tornadoes that have impacted Alberta, including the Pine Lake tornado of 2000, which I have a personal story about.
I love it.
So let's get into it.
I've never seen a tornado.
I've never physically seen one. I've seen a funnel cloud.
I haven't seen a funnel cloud either.
No. Well,
sad. It's a dream.
There's still time. So let's talk about the conditions that were occurring in the atmosphere on this day. So the catastrophic tornado of July 31st, 1987, it was not entirely an unforeseen event, emerging instead from a backdrop of unusually volatile atmospheric conditions that had persisted over central Alberta for nearly a week.
Interesting.
In the week leading up to Black Friday, a persistent low pressure system situated over southwestern British Columbia, it acted as a pump, continuously feeding warm and exceptionally humid air into central Alberta. So this influx dramatically increased atmospheric moisture content, pushing new dew point temperatures, which the temperature at which air becomes saturated, that's what dew point means, to near record levels for the region, frequently reaching the 17 degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius range, far exceeding the typical summer average of around 10 degrees Celsius. Interesting. High daytime temperatures further amplify the potential energy available for the storms. So, and I'm no scientist or meteorologist or anything like that, but I think what I'm trying to say here, what my research is trying to say here is, in Canada and specifically in this area near the Rockies, the mornings are fucking cold. Like they're still cold.
They are, yeah.
But there's that dew point, and so there's a lot of moisture, but then the afternoons are fucking hot and it's sucking up all that moisture immediately. High daytime temperatures further amplified the potential energy available for the storms. I just said that, but there it is again. This period was also marked by significant rainfall, with some areas receiving up to 300 millimeters, leading to saturated ground and a notable rise in river levels.
Oh.
Thunderstorms were a daily occurrence during the last week of July, many of them severe, producing damaging winds, torrential downpours, record levels of lightning exceeding 40,000 cloud to ground strikes on July 30th alone.
That's fucking wild. I've never seen anything like that here.
That's insane. Large hail, which we know all too well in Alberta. In fact, we know it so well that insurance companies won't cover hail damage for your vehicle.
Uh-huh.
Maybe your house up to a specific point, but yeah, it sucks.
Our car dealerships have like hail damage sales where they lower the prices of brand new vehicles that were all fucked up in hail damage.
I have a rental right now, and if it were to hail and I can't bring my car into a garage, I'm on the line for that. I'm liable for that damage.
Goodness, there's still an entire community just outside of Balzac. Where the houses, like all the siding on the houses, you drive by like on Stony, and there are just like holes in all the siding and shit too. Because
it's insane.
It's bad.
It's insane. So large hail, some reportedly the size of tennis balls or larger, can confirm that does happen.
Sure does.
Critically, this unstable period also spawned numerous tornadoes. At least 14 confirmed tornadoes ranging in intensity from an F0 to F2 were documented across Alberta, such as babies, between July 25th and the 30th.
Wow, that's a lot, I feel like.
Yeah. One of these, a weak F0 tornado, touched down briefly near Nisku, just 6 kilometers south of Edmonton city limits, the day before the main event. It is like a crescendo.
The main
leading
event.
up to this, right?
That's wild. Like, I feel like something was trying to like break through, and all of this weird weather was like,
I want to break free.
I want to break free.
It was a diamond.
A diamond.
Who knows? It could be. It
could be a demon.
So this sequence demonstrates that the regional atmosphere was not only unstable, but already possessed the necessary dynamics like sufficient moisture, instability, lift, and shear, which I know nothing about, but I'm interested.
Same.
To support tornadic rotation for several days prior to the F4 event. The Edmonton tornado, therefore, represented the violent culmination of this extended period of severe weather potential rather than an abrupt, isolated phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
On the day itself, specific atmospheric features aligned to create an environment exceptionally conducive to a major tornado outbreak. It was rife with exceptionally conducive things. Rife. A cold front advancing from Western Alberta acted as a powerful trigger mechanism, colliding with the deeply unstable, warm, moist air mass already in place over central Alberta. At the surface, a weak low pressure trough. Oh man, it's hard to talk tonight.
Now you know.
Weak low pressure trough lingered over the region while strong southwesterly winds prevailed at upper levels. Analysis of atmospheric surroundings provided crucial insights. So the early morning sounding at like 6 a.m. revealed a layer of saturated air near the surface, capped by strong temperature inversion, a layer of warm air aloft, between roughly 780 to 720 HPA. Something pressure, maybe. This cap initially suppressed widespread thunderstorm development, but allowed a potential energy just to keep building beneath it. It's like shaking a fucking bottle. Don't do that on camera, Christy. It's like shaking a bottle of Pepsi.
Shaking a bottle of Pepsi.
That's gross. I'm so disgusting.
Please stay.
Please don't unfriend me.
Please don't unfollow us.
The sounding indicated very high surface dew potential energy to build. Oh my God. The sounding indicated very high surface dew points and significant conditional instability. If an air parcel could be forced through the cap, it would become highly buoyant and accelerate rapidly upwards into the upper troposphere. Studies estimated the convective available potential energy, or CAPE, as it's more affectionately known, a measure of this instability, exceeded 2,200 J/kilograms, a value indicative of strong storm potential.
Just kidding.
Also, there was wind shear, which is important to mention as well, which is a change in wind speed and or direction with height, which is also present. So now you're having all this pressure and then it's changing and then you get the swirling. Meteorologists at Environment Canada's Alberta Weather Centre recognized the elevated risk early on July 31st. Forecasts issued that morning highlighted the potential for severe thunderstorms, and subsequent communications, including weather radio broadcasts and media interviews, explicitly stressed the likelihood of vicious thunderstorms and extremely strong and violent thunderstorms. While the general pattern had been conducive for days, a specific convergence of the potential instability, or high CAPE, abundant low-level moisture, high dew points, a strong lifting mechanism, or cold front surface trough, and organizing wind shear on July 31st created the perfect storm, no pun intended, scenario. Interestingly, unlike some other major Alberta tornado events like the Holden 1993 and Pine Lake of 2000, which were associated with distinct surface dry lines, the environment for the Edmonton storm was characterized by uniformly moist conditions across the boundary layer, suggesting a slightly different mesoscale setup driving the event. So shit was moist and these other ones were dry. So interesting. So this event unfolded rapidly.
That's wild.
During the afternoon hours, culminating in this F4 tornado's devastating trek through Edmonton. And that's so tough because it's like you can, and especially back then, like, you know, obviously they have better systems in place now, number one, for tracking weather. But number two, you have fucking cell phones where you're going to get those alerts, right? So you can be better prepared.
Take cover.
Which is great. But yeah, doesn't really help in this situation.
No, that's wild. I can't believe that and you also like don't expect anything like this to ever happen.
No.
Without all this like scientific knowledge, like as a regular person, you'd be like, oh, a regular storm's coming. Like I would never expect I mean, I know we have tornadoes, but I never expect like big tornadoes, especially in the city.
Secretly, I'm always expecting a tornado.
Always.
Every
expecting
storm.
or
I'm like
hoping.
I'm just prepared. Just for preparedness. Okay. So let's talk about the initiation and the early stages here. Yeah. So a line of thunderstorms initially formed along the foothills southwest of Calgary before noon. These storms intensified as they tracked northeastward across central Alberta. And fun fact, tornadoes always will travel in a northeastern pattern.
Interesting.
I think. Let me just double check my fun fact here. 1 second.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere before.
Bear with us while we fact check Christy's fun fact.
Okay, never mind.
My phone is dead.
I'm wrong.
She made that up, guys.
The majority of tornadoes in the United States do move from southwest to northeast. This is not a universal rule. Tornadoes can travel in any direction, and some even backtrack or change direction. That's terrifying.
That is terrifying.
I don't like that. It's like, whoops, I missed a spot. Like, no. It's like when you're fucking vacuuming and you miss a line of dog hair. But I think it's mostly true for North America, just based on, I don't know. Yeah. I'm making things up now. Don't listen to me or trust me at all. I'm tired. I did a child's birthday party today.
That's wild.
Leave me alone.
I don't envy you.
Yeah, you went to two children's.
I went to 2 children's birthday parties and I'm fucking tired.
I don't envy you.
Either of them.
So that was happening. Recognizing the growing threat, the Alberta Weather Center issued a severe weather watch. And there's watches and warnings, and watches are like different than warnings. It's like warnings is more like it's imminent.
Yeah.
And watches is like,
keep an eye out for this, guy.
maybe this could be happening.
So go like out your window and watch for it. That's how I would read that. Weather watch.
Yeah.
Weather warning. I'd be like, everybody to the basement.
So the Weather Center issued a severe weather watch for the Edmonton area at 1:40 p.m. And then around 2:45, so like an hour later, explosive thunderstorm development occurred ahead of the main line near the town of Leduc, approximately 20 miles south of Edmonton. At 2:59 p.m., a weather spotter, Leduc pharmacist Tom Taylor, observed and reported a brief rope-like F0 tornado touching down near Leduc. Taylor described seeing a thin translucent funnel connecting the cloud base to the ground for about 10 seconds before it dissipated. This crucial ground report, combined with the radar observations indicating a rapidly strengthening isolated supercell thunderstorm, prompted Environment Canada to issue a tornado warning for the city of Edmonton and surrounding areas around 3:04 p.m. Shortly after the initial Leduc touchdown at 3:03 p.m., according to Environment and Climate Change Canada records, the parent supercell spawned the main, much larger tornado near the town of Beaumont, south of Edmonton. And so, so that happened at 3:03, but then a minute later, Environment Canada issued the tornado warning for Edmonton. A minute before this, at 3:03 p.m., the supercell spawned the main tornado
in Beaumont.
So this tornado quickly grew in size and strength as it began tracking northward towards the city. It entered the southeastern part of Edmonton, moving up through the eastern portions of the Millwoods residential area as a powerful multiple vortex tornado.
That's fucking scary.
Oh, damage in Millwoods was rated F2 to F3, with 32 homes significantly damaged and reports of people rescued from collapsing buildings.
Jesus.
Continuing its relentless northward path, the tornado crossed the Sherwood Park Freeway and slammed into the heavily industrialized area known as Refinery Row. It was here, amidst the refineries and industrial facilities, that the tornado reached its peak intensity, rated F4 on the Fujita scale. The destruction was catastrophic. Several large oil storage tanks were lifted and tossed. Numerous industrial buildings were leveled, and transport trailers at trucking depots like Laidlaw and Buyers Transport were picked up and scattered like toys.
That's fucking scary.
And you look at it, you'll see the pictures, you guys. It is crazy seeing these massive oil tanks like just toppled over, like upside down, flipped. Like it's chilling. It's chilling.
Wild.
And I don't know what it is about. Like there's hurricanes that produce like insanely strong winds, so do tornadoes, but there's just, and like they also have a path, and I feel like it's probably it is like a wider destruction, essentially. But like I don't know what it is about tornadoes that are just like different to me. I have no idea, but maybe because it's more of a visual.
It's like a physical thing that you can see that just kind of like whoosh through and just destruction.
Evidence of extreme winds included scouring of the ground and windrowing of debris. Some damage assessments suggested that winds in this area may have approached or briefly reached F5 intensity, although the official rating remained at an F4. 12 of the storm's 27 fatalities occurred in this zone. This industrial zone.
Wild.
Oh, my foot's falling asleep. Sorry, I'm touching your leg because I can't feel my foot.
Don't touch my leg with your foot.
My gross, crusty foot.
Oh, my hairy legs. No, I was kidding. I kind of shaved, sort of.
I didn't do that to you. So after crossing Refinery Row, the tornado appeared to weaken slightly as it traversed an open area and crossed the North Saskatchewan River. However, it maintained significant F2 to F3 intensity as it tore through the eastern Clairview neighborhoods of Kernohan, Bannerman, and Fraser around 4:00 p.m. So it began at 3:03 in Beaumont. This bitch has been going for an hour.
Holy, that's terrifying.
It's terrifying. I know. Causing heavy damage to numerous homes.
Not cool.
The final devastating impact occurred as the tornado struck the Evergreen Mobile Home Park, as they always do in northeastern Edmonton. It carved a 2-block wide path of destruction, obliterating between 170 and 208 mobile homes.
Holy fuck.
Reports vary.
Yeah. But that's still like a lot of fucking mobile homes.
Some trailers disintegrated entirely, while others were piled 3 high.
Jesus.
What is it with 3 high? Piled 3 high today?
I don't know. That's fucking scary.
Because your story had that too.
Yes, it did.
I don't like that.
Nope.
15 residents of the mobile home park tragically lost their lives. 15.
Oh, no.
The tornado finally dissipated approximately 5 kilometers northeast of the mobile home park shortly after 4 o'clock p.m. So the main Edmonton tornado remained on the ground for approximately 1 hour, as we said, which is an unusually long duration for a Canadian tornado.
Yeah.
There is some discrepancy in the reported path length. The official ECCC Canadian Tornado Database lists a path length of 30.8 kilometers or 19.1 miles. However, the contemporary reports such as the Alberta Public Safety Services Assessment and the Atlas of the Edmonton Tornado cite lengths of 40 kilometers or 25 miles or 37 kilometers respectively.
That's pretty long, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking wild.
This variation likely reflects differences in survey methodology or definitions used, with the official 30.8 kilometers figure probably representing the continuous path of significant F2 plus damage, while the longer figures might encompass the entire track of the circulation, including weaker initial or final stages of a broader impact zone. But the tornado reached a maximum width, girth, if I may, of up to 1.3 kilometers.
Holy
or
shit.
0.81 miles.
That's
in places.
wild.
Peak wind speeds were estimated to be between 418 to 420 kilometers an hour, approximately 260 miles per hour, placing it at the upper end of the F4 category and just below the threshold for an F5.
Oof.
Eyewitnesses described a massive, dark, swirling cloud, sometimes exhibiting multiple vortices rotating within the main funnel. The parent thunderstorm also produced extremely heavy rainfall and large hail, some the size of tennis balls or larger, contributing to an overall impact across the city. The F4 tornado was the most significant event in a larger outbreak. 7 other tornadoes, mostly rated F0 to F2, were confirmed in central Alberta on the same fucking day.
That's wild.
Yeah. Including tornadoes near Beaumont, southeast Edmonton, and a longer tract F2 between Millet and Vegreville. Ugh. So
that's terrifying.
So the Edmonton tornado inflicted a devastating toll on the city and surrounding county, obviously, and measured in lives lost most significantly, injuries sustained, and property obliterated, and staggering economic costs. The tornado resulted in 27 confirmed fatalities, making it the deadliest tornado in Alberta's history and the second deadliest in Canada.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Reports on the number of injured vary, but most sources indicate approximately 300 or more individuals sustained injuries requiring medical attention, with some figures ranging up to 350 or even 600, which is a huge...
That is a big jump, guys.
It's a huge jump. But the disaster left a significant number of people homeless, estimated between 1,700 and 2,500 residents. The fatalities were tragically concentrated in 2 specific areas along the path. 12 people were killed in the industrial district known as Refinery Row. 15 lost their lives in the Evergreen Mobile Park. And this stark distribution highlights the concept of differential vulnerability during severe weather events. Areas with structures that are less resistant to extreme winds, such as mobile home parks, and environments like industrial sites where individuals might be exposed or trapped even within large collapsing structures, present significantly elevated risks to life safety compared to standard residential areas. But also, like to your point too, it's not likely, like a tornado doesn't have a whole lot of opportunity to touch down in hilly areas or big cities.
Yeah.
But this one touched down just outside and it just kind of ripped a path on the edge.
Oh,
and once you're gaining like momentum and girth and like an hour, a fucking hour, this thing was active for. Whoo. So obviously there is a lot of destruction, a lot of property destruction, tons of economic costs. Quantifying the precise economic toll of this disaster is pretty difficult, but all estimates point to staggering losses. Direct property damage figures frequently cited range from 250 million to over 332 million in 87. And then just for inflation, this equates to approximately 762 million in 2023 Canadian dollars. Yeah. And let's keep going here. So the immediate aftermath of the tornado saw a massive emergency response effort, while the longer-term legacy involved significant changes to warning systems, technology, and community awareness. Immediately, though, the scale of the disaster required a coordinated response from numerous agencies. So we have APS, or Alberta Public Safety Services, the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Edmonton Fire Department, Emergency Medical Services, and even Canadian Forces Base personnel acting in a volunteer capacity were involved, which is great.
Yes.
The Provincial Government Emergency Operations Center, or GEOC, was activated shortly after 3 p.m. on July 31st and remained fully staffed for the next 4 days, coordinating the response and handling a constant stream of media and public inquiries. Search and rescue teams worked through the devastation, particularly in the hardest hit industrial area and the Evergreen Mobile Home Park, while hospitals treated the hundreds of injured individuals. The Canadian Red Cross played a crucial role, mobilizing over 1,300 registered volunteers, and they quickly established phone lines for assistance, processed over 11,000 inquiries, distributed essential supplies like food and clothing, organized temporary housing for 89 displaced families, and opened a victim assistance center at a local high school on August 3rd to provide a central point for registration, housing assistance, and stress counseling.
Wow, that's awesome. Actually, that's quite the response.
And I mean, we already talked about kind of like the evolution of the warning system and all that sort of thing, and we can get that as great things on our cell phones now.
Great.
So yeah, I mean,
they're terrifying.
They are,
especially when you're in like a quiet office and everybody's cell phone goes off. Like, usually at different times. Like, it's like staggered, and all of a sudden there's just like this screeching noise throughout the whole office. It's pretty spooky.
So there are other significant tornado or tornadic events in Alberta. I'm not going to go into great detail about all of them because we are a microbrew. So we're trying to keep it at least at most 45 minutes here. So, but there was the Holden tornado in July 29th, 1993. This was an F3 tornado spawned by a supercell thunderstorm in Alberta. The damage estimated about $3 million. And there was Didsbury Carstairs, July 1st of 2023, striking on Canada Day.
I remember that one.
Yeah, this one was rated an EF4 with a maximum estimated wind speeds of 275 kilometers per hour. It tracked for 15.3 kilometers with a maximum width of 620 meters, crossing Highway 2A between Didsbury and Carstairs. It impacted 12 residences, destroying 3 and leaving 4 uninhabitable.
I remember that one.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
There was Grassy Lake, June 25th, 1915. This was one of Alberta's earliest documented violent tornadoes, and it was an F4. That one was near Grassy Lake and Redcliffe. It caused an estimated 5 fatalities and 12 injuries.
Jesus.
And other notable historic tornadoes causing significant damage or demonstrating tornado potential include events near Vulcan in 1927, destroyed a curling rink and damaged 2 structures. Vermilion, 1918, caused fatalities. And Rivière Quibar 1981 F2 intensity. The one I wanted to highlight, other than this Black Friday one though, would be the Pine Lake tornado. Because as I said at the top of the episode here, I do have a personal story about it. So this one occurred July 14th, 2000. And I think we're seeing a trend with these. They're basically in July.
Yeah.
End of June. And then all of July is our tornado season.
Interesting.
So July 14th, 2000. This is 13 years after the Edmonton disaster. Tragedy struck central Alberta once again. Early Friday, July 14th, another Friday too, of 2000, a powerful F3 tornado tore through the Green Acres campground, a popular recreational site on the shores of Pine Lake, located approximately 25 kilometers southeast of Red Deer. The tornado originated from a potent supercell thunderstorm that developed along the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains and tracked rapidly eastward into an area of enhanced low-level moisture. So I just wanted to highlight that this one's also going northeast. So like,
Interesting.
shut up.
Yeah.
Oops. It touched down at around 7 p.m., approximately 5 kilometers west of the campground, and it remained on the ground for about 30 minutes, carving a path of destruction roughly 15 to 20 kilometers long. The damage swath varied in width from 800 meters to as much as 1.5 kilometers, with the most intense damage concentrated in a 500-meter central corridor. Wind speeds within the core were estimated to have reached 300 kilometers per hour, consistent with an F3 rating. And the parent storm also produced very large hail, reported up to the size of baseballs.
Ooh.
The tornado's impact on the densely occupied Green Acres campground was catastrophic. 12 people lost their lives, and reports indicate between 100 and over 140 individuals sustained injuries, many critical. It was the first deadly tornado in Canada since the 87 Edmonton event, and the tornado devastated the campground, destroying hundreds of recreational vehicles and trailers. Estimates suggest approximately 400 campsites were destroyed.
Wow.
Or severely damaged. Vehicles and boats were tossed into the lake. Permanent homes across the lake were damaged or destroyed. Trees were uprooted, and everyday objects became deadly projectiles.
Terrifying.
Again, especially because like these fixtures are permanent fixtures. Like you don't have the security within them. The total economic loss was estimated to be upwards of $13 to $15 million in 2000. And the Pine Lake tornado ranks as Canada's 4th deadliest tornado on record.
Shit.
So quickly here, my personal story.
Okay.
The day after this tornado happened in Pine Lake, my dad and my stepmom lived in Pine Lake. At the time.
Wow.
So their house was on top of a hill here, and then you go down the hill, and then across the road, and there's the Green Acres campground.
My God.
And so their place was untouched, but this thing, like, it went, from what I understand, based on the layout of the campsite, is that number one, nobody really saw it coming because it came over a hill. And you couldn't see it. And, oh man.
It's terrifying.
So when my dad came and picked us up and took us for the weekend, it was his weekend.
Yeah.
And, we went and looked at the devastation.
Of course.
Like he took us for a drive kind of around there as much as we could. They were dragging the lake for bodies. Like everything's just flattened. And it was chilling. It was chilling. And then that night there was another huge storm. And so there was like golf ball sized hail bouncing off the trampoline, pelting the house. And my dad was looking outside and he's like, "Go get in the basement, kids."
Oh my God. Thanks, Dad.
Like, and
I bet you did not sleep that night.
There were green clouds swirling.
Oh, that's terrifying.
And so, it was,
Ooh,
so that's my personal experience with like, not directly personal, but still to see that
devastation firsthand.
Was insane. Like something I will never ever forget.
Yeah.
But, so we will post photos of both because we'll include my personal experience. Well, anyways.
Ugh, tornadoes are so thrilling but terrifying.
Terrifying. It's so destructive. It's just they're interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just very, very interesting. But thank you for listening to my episode on tornadoes.
Thank you for this episode. I never knew about this. I'm going to do a bunch of research now.
Like, start looking at the photos, dude, because like you get like you'll be like, holy fuck, man.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like to think of Alberta as Canada's tornado alley, but I think it kind of, it stretches. It's like Alberta, it goes really from Alberta to Ontario where this stuff happens, and even Quebec, maybe. But, so the prairies really, as you get into, but
amazing. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Anyways, I want to go to bed.
Yeah, me too. I need to go home.
Okay. All right. Thanks for watching and listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And you know where to find us anyway, so we don't have to tell you.
Yes. Bye.